Hey y'all, today we are talking August 3rd and 4th, Delta. And weather was kind of a little bit all over the place for that. It was really hot the week before. And then on Saturday, there was major cloud cover.
Rain.
Rain. I didn't experience any rain.
I got some rain.
Nice. And it definitely smelled rainy.
Yeah.
And then Sunday was back to clear blue skies and back to warm. Saturday on the end of the day was still kind of cloudy, but then got hot. So it had that musty after to it.
Yeah.
Water temperature. Do you remember what the water temperature was?
70s, I thought.
Somewhere around there, 70s, mid 70s.
I think so.
Somewhere around there.
Don't really pay attention.
I just look at the overall for it. It's just in the 70s. And water clarity depends on where you were going in that area. The wind on Sunday, there was some wind, but for the most part, wind wasn't really a factor for once on the Delta.
Yeah.
Getting into it, Saturday for me, ran to a spot and I picked up spinnerbait. This is the Dobbins Beast in it's like green shiner or something like that, and with a high-tech the thread fin and the 3.8 on the trailer for it, and going down the bank and picking up a bunch of fish on that, some solid fish. And when I say solid, I mean 2-pounders. Because right now, larger bites are hard to come by. My partner was throwing the Whopper Plopper 190 in like a bluegill color and was scooping them up with that. They were coming unglued on it. That was pretty much our morning running between the spinnerbait and that. I did pick up one on the frog yellow blackhead through a mat. You can see actually in the video, I throw into off of a pennywort mat. It blows through. I swing, completely miss it. Throw right back in, land back on it, give it a couple of twitches, and it blows through again, smokes it. Put that in the box. Nice little 2.5-pounder. So that was kind of a cool catch. The rest of the day, Saturday, we scattered out, went to a bunch of different areas, tried running some tide stuff. Was getting bit on the black buzzbait. My partner was throwing that Whopper Plopper pretty much the whole day. One thing that I do want to mention is on Friday when I was pre-fishing, I was getting them to pick up punch with the watermelon red. On Friday, just couldn't get any solid bites, the areas that I was going when I was punching low tide. It's pretty much how my Saturday went. Had 11.5 pounds total for third place. Saturday went better for you. You had second place with 12.5 pounds.
It was 1287.
1287. How'd that go for you? How'd that day?
So we started off in a spot. My partner, he asked, we're kind of talking about what we're going to throw, and I told him throw that buzz bait. We're in loose tulies, hard tule clumps, and one of the first fish that we picked up, he picked it up on that buzz bait. It was a red and black buzz bait with 4 blades on it, like 4. It was a quad blade, but just one blade. Picked up a 440. That was the first fish into the box, and we started working around. I was throwing a spinnerbait just like James, right? I throw the 3.3s on it instead of 3.8s, but I was picking up fish with that. We started working around, jumped over to a rock bank, and I picked up this Depths Evo 2.0 in like hologram red, whatever it is. And I started going to work off that rock bank, outgoing tide. I put 5 or 6 fish in the boat, right back to back to back to back, going down that rock bank. It's a pretty good bait. I found this one in the Delta hanging up on a tree. And I'm gonna purchase some more because it's almost It reminds me of the -1, right? That not too deep, but and a good wobble to it.
Good wide wobble.
Good wide wobble, and they were chewing on it. We started poking around, and we had to move around for tide reasons, and started picking them up on Cincos and stuff like that, but never really, after about 10 o'clock, never really got into fish. We caught fish all day, just not the right fish to upgrade, but we ended up with 1287, which gave us second place for the day.
Now, interesting note, your area and my area were fairly close to each other.
Yeah.
It's fairly close to each other, so it's like that part of the delta seems a little healthier right now.
Yeah.
There's definitely other parts of the delta I ran to completely different sections of there, and I was still picking them up on buzzbait and frog and spinnerbait. So it's not necessarily locked into certain areas. It's just kind of funny that they ended up, our best areas were kind of close to each other.
Yeah, and I tried multiple areas that I thought were decent, especially to some of the things that we fished when we fished the Ultimate Frog Challenge.
Yeah.
That I liked.
But it looked pretty, but... Sunday for me was a completely night and day difference between Saturday.
Yes.
That day was not the same day whatsoever. So in that, I went back to the same area, throwing a spinnerbait, partner's throwing a whopper plopper. We fished that entire area, and I switched to a bunch of different baits. We never even got bit in that entire area where we caught our bag the day before. Started jucking and jiving, moving to different areas. Ended up picking up, actually had a blow up on a buzzbait, threw back in there, got another blow up on a buzzbait. It stuck, then came undone on the toolies, and then threw back in there a third time, and then got short struck, and I said, what am I doing? Turned around, picked up the frog, threw it right back into that same area, ate, and lo and behold, the smallest fish out of any of the fish that ate was enough to keep though. Ate the frog, loaded it in the box, kept going down that bank, and just could not hook up with anything. Like they wouldn't eat, nothing was right, kind of felt funky. And then I looked at my partner, and my actual words were, don't tell anyone that I did this. I will deny it if asked. And I got out a Cinco. This is a watermelon slice, 5-inch Cinco. I picked this up, started casting this down the bank, flipping through the toolies, and started catching fish. Biggest fish was barely a 3-pounder, like a low 3. The rest of them realistically were all like 1s, 1.5s. Moved from that area, partner picked up a whopper plopper fish off a rock bank. He also was throwing the Sorry Steve in the 5.8. So a larger Sorry Steve, just hooked, no weight, just Texas rigged with the Sorry Steve, and was catching fish. Like, it was kind of like almost like the skinny Cinco that you like to throw. Yeah. It was like that, really, really good. And pretty much didn't really upgrade. We had one last Cinco fish at the end of the day, again on another toolie thing that we upgraded with a Cinco, again, watermelon slice. And our total weight, I don't even remember what it was, 9, low 10s, somewhere around there, high 9s, low 10s, I don't remember. Definitely not the same day whatsoever. How was your Sunday?
Sunday was basically the same thing what you're talking about. We worked the same water that we worked the day before, trying to catch that big bite like what we did the day before, and it just wasn't there. What we end up doing is I was punching with a 1 ounce weight, throwing a watermelon red. This is the Bronco bug in the Rapala, and I was actually kind of toolie dipping, putting it inside toolies, anywhere toolie edges. And we were just flipping around. My partner was throwing a Cinco, I was throwing that. We still tried to keep them honest by throwing a spinnerbait, the square bill and stuff like that. It just was not the same day. almost all of our fish came on flipping and punching, and it was fun though.
Yeah.
Doing that. By the end of the day, we caught our limit. We had a limit, and we weren't really upgrading. I didn't really like the water because where we were fishing at, the water was going out, and I like deeper water access in areas. So we moved. We went to a rock bank where I knew was a good tule or a weed line and deep water, and we actually started drop shotting with 7-inch margarita mutilators.
Oof, drop shot.
On the outside edge, right, we were fishing 10 to 15 foot of water, and we started picking up fish immediately, where it was like fun again, right? Like, even though it's drop shot, we were kind of power shotting, right? Tide and everything, but we were doubling up, and we were able to upgrade a couple fish doing that. And then basically the day was over. Our tournament ended at 11:45, so
yeah, it was a 6-hour tournament. So it was 5:45, 11:45.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention in the beginning, tide was basically outgoing both days.
All day.
Almost all day. We got a little bit more of low tide and a little less of high tide on Saturday, and then we got more high tide on Sunday, less low tide on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just outgoing all day.
Yeah.
And a decent swing too.
Yeah, it was like a 4 to 3 foot swing both days.
So it's good outgoing. So running current, basically sticking to where the current levels are, is kind of what we were running down and making sure the area had current.
Yeah.
I mean, I think overall it was a good weekend. Caught a lot of fish.
Yeah, a lot of people caught a lot of fish.
I think not everybody limited, but most people limited. Winning bag was 14 and a half.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Over 14 was winning bag for the entire weekend. Big fish for the weekend was your partner's 440. Sean's 440 on that buzzbait.
Yep.
So definitely have some bigger fish that are in the system. They're just, for the club, it was hard to run across. My biggest fish of the weekend was a 3 for our boat, and you guys had that 440, and there was other people that didn't even crack into the 3. So,
yeah.
And then you get the other guys who ended up with basically a bag of 3s.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it for that. Kind of, unfortunately, best kind of baits out there right now are going to be your Cincos, your spinnerbaits, and your drop shot, and a little bit of flipping. So if you just want to go out and catch a bunch of fish, there are a ton of babies out there.
Yes.
And if you stick to that rock bankish kind of stuff, you definitely can catch a ton of babies, occasional big fish. So I think that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. If you have any questions, comments, you can leave them down below. You can always hit me up on Instagram. And until next time, I hope you get them. See that, guys? Think of the day.